Hey there, boss. Of course I'm fine. What did you think was going to happen? Yeah, all good news. I've got quite the paycheck coming my way. Maybe bad news for you if you get a large crowd tonight. Yeah, tell Sarah to meet me at the police station address I'm about to send. Mm-hmm. I've got work for her to do. There will be quite the paycheck indeed waiting for me, assuming I can win. But can I afford to accept it? Ugh. Hey, were any of those jokes around the office about your clients being connected to organized crime true? What? Is this some kind of honeypot? Trying to get a grasp on something. Now I know you're baiting me. World's easiest that's what she said layup. I'll still bask at that shit though, I don't give a fuck. Why do you make everything so hard? Come on. Like, come on, Freckles. Low-hanging fruit. I have no idea what you're talking about. Obviously. Why are you asking me about mafia shit, though? I'm working a case for the Icaria, whom I assume you've heard of. Definitely. Under circumstances that are probably vulgar. Absolutely. Which you'd be happy to brag about to me. Anytime. But I'm not well positioned to turn down the job outright. So I'd like to know whether they'll be resistant about parting ways afterwards. Why? Do you not like getting paid lots of money? I don't like being chained. Fair enough. So you're like, just asking for my advice? The oral loss is incredible. Not going to attempt to parse that. I doubt you ever could. My generation's sense of humor is practically impregnable. It was a very basic non sequitur, Auntie. It just wasn't funny. Not even. A non sequitur would be, what's the charge? That's just getting back on topic. The charge is homicide. 5 counts. Meh. You're probably fine. All the stuff you hear about mobsters being clingy with their lawyers, it's because they don't want anyone who's been through their underwear drawers running around, telling tales. Whatever poor fucker they've pinned multiple homicides on is obviously not anyone important. I don't think he was framed. Not by his own people. Nah, pinned as in stuck with, like a chore. Powerful people, however, no. If they get lawyers, it's for tax evasion and conspiracy charges. Dirty work's up to the pawns. And the whole point of a pawn is, you don't have to think twice about trading them off. Alright. Guess I know the rumors are true then. Yep, you can cover my cool fucking secret. Listen, actors, singers, celebs, they all like expensive things and being the center of attention. Mobsters have money to burn and want the cologne of legitimacy. Everyone wants what they can't have. Okay, chill, F. Scott Fitzgerald. Great looking Gatsby ass. I still pine for thee, motherfucker. What? All I'm saying is there's mutually beneficial arrangements to be made between the rich and famous, and the rich and infamous. So you bet your ass I was in those rooms, negotiating appearance fees, and taking my 30%. 30%? You really are shameless. That's what she said. Alright. Thanks as always for the sage counsel. Hey, if you're really feeling grateful, do me a solid and call your rents. They say they never hear from you. I know you can't be that busy. If you're bored enough to talk to me. They're the ones who are busy. Obviously, I wasn't sure what would happen after I left that crime scene. And I wasn't sure what I'd find walking in here to speak to my client. But I definitely wouldn't have bet that the next time I saw this man alive, he'd actually look worse. Did you not hear me? I said I'm your lawyer. Oh, I heard you. I'm just not interested in wasting my breath responding. I'm sorry, is there a misunderstanding here? Not at all. I understand exactly what you are. You and all your fellow... Your companion is staring at me very intently. Sarah, blink. You're embarrassing me in front of the Yakuza. It's a very dated word. You'd really prefer I call you an orca? I'd prefer you give up and leave. What are you talking? I'm sure they told you I'd been softened up. That they'd broken me and I'd be ready to sign whatever you put in front of me. Sorry to disappoint you. But the Hound of Icaria doesn't heal. Cool. Sosuke, I'm gonna repeat myself plainly. And slowly. Because you clearly have multiple head injuries. I am not a lawyer. I am your lawyer. Right then. Very good. Thank you for coming. I apologize if I misspoke just now. I'd misspeak too if I'd lost as much blood as you. Morgan Esquire. I'll be representing you from here on out. Sosuke of House Icaria. Sarah, paralegal and bartender. You're very young to have 2 jobs. Or 10 bar. Well, it is only part-time. Ah, right. So tell us, Sosuke of House Icaria, what is your routine? You look very fit. My what? Are you asking about... Do you not have me on file? Sorry, which firm are you from? DDD, MPM? I'm in private practice. You mean you're not? A mob lawyer? No, but please don't hold it against me. Everyone has to start the path to corruption somewhere. There are serious risks involved in representing a man with my background against charges like these. It's very sweet of you to... They say I killed a cop, miss. I realize I may look a sorry state at the moment, but I've not fallen so low that I'd sully the house's name by dragging a civilian into. Makoto thought differently. The young master? You've seen him? How is he? Where is he? Is he unharmed? He was sitting pretty atop a literal throne surrounded by armed guards the last time I checked. Thank you for that. No one's told me anything, and if the young master has spoken on this matter, I won't go against his judgment. But I do hope you understand what you're getting into. I'm already in it, Sosuke. How well I understand what I'm in is something I think you'd be able to help with. Very well. What do you want to know? So far, all I know about you is your first and last name. It's a very important last name, but I take your meaning. And in truth, the first thing you should know is that I'm not worthy of it. Why? You disqualified due to pre-existing conditions? I was born Sosuke Hayakawa, 4th son of a distant branch family. The only reason I bear the name of Icaria is because I was adopted into the main house as an infant, in exchange for lifelong service to the main family. Sounds like a great deal. Lifelong? How did you serve the Icaria as an infant? There are various tax benefits if you have exactly 2 children. Don't be absurd. I am what you would call a bodyguard. From the time I was able to walk, I was trained to be of service to the house by protecting the heir with my life. From the time you're able to walk, there are a lot of demand for toddler bodyguards. All that's ever been asked of me is that I stand in the right place at the right time. You mean like in family photographs? Like in front of a blade. Even a child can manage that. The house has given me everything I've ever had, and taught me everything I've ever known. What meager service I can offer in return means nothing compared to the debt I owe them. You view your relationship with your family as a transaction? It is not something so cold, girl. It's a matter of loyalty. Right. So if you were standing before a judge and they asked your name and occupation, you would say, "My name is Sosuke Ikaria, and I'm an eternal servant for a living?" I would say my name is Sosuke Ikaria, and I work as the head of personnel security for the Ikaria Financial Group. And what does that entail exactly? I'm the young master's bodyguard, and I lead all his security teams. Nice to properly meet you. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. And I'm Sarah, paralegal and bartender, part-time. Yes, I believe you've already mentioned that. It seemed like we were all doing it twice. Well, thank you for your paralegal services, Sarah. And here I had the impression you had no sense of humor. What do you mean? It seems in this particular instance, Adonai, it was you who I misidentified his proper manners as being Glad we've all broken the ice. Makoto told me that this all started because you were taken captive yesterday. What happened? It was 2 p.m. The young master had just finished a meeting with a VIP in Crane Tower, floor 108. 2 p.m. He wasn't in school? I'll ask that you refrain from mocking the young master in my presence. He is a child. Anyone can see that. But you've no idea the pressures that have been placed on him. Whatever my client wants. As I was saying, it was just after 2 p.m. Me and the rest of my team escorted him to the elevators along our planned exit route. But our lift stopped suddenly in between floors 61 and 62. That was when I made a mistake. I had a bad feeling. Thought it best to get Makoto to the ground floor ASAP. So I forced the elevator open and crawled out and pulled him out after me. But just as he got out, the elevator started up again, separating us from the rest of the guard. It was a trap. 50-50 one. Staying wasn't safe either. If they could stop the elevator, it's not a stretch to think they could drop it, too. He just lost a coin flip when he decided to exit. Yes, Sarah, it was a trap. Floors 60 through 70 were undergoing heavy retrofitting. The other elevators weren't responding. Comms were jammed. I'd reviewed the entire building's blueprints beforehand. Not very useful information, obviously, for a floor undergoing renovations. But I knew that there was a construction elevator we could get to, on the other side of the tower. I had to act fast. There was no time to doubt myself, and I did something unforgivable. You left the kid? I picked him up over my shoulder. Oh, well that sounds like fun. House, forgive me. Everything the young master does for the sake of his name's dignity, and kids are tougher than you'd think. I think we'll get over it. So you escorted him to the service elevator. I take it that's when things... Yes. I'm sorry, but I only remember a few vague details about what happened next. But I'll tell you what little I can. After I activated the lift, 2 assailants emerged from under a tarped doorway at my 7 o'clock. One tall, one thin. Tall was around 190 centimeters in his weight. I'd say 100 kilograms in the mods. Thin was maybe 175 centimeters, but slouched. Modded as well, but what I saw looked stripped down, so you couldn't have been heavier than 70 kilo. They had needle guns, slow to fire and slow to take effect. A memorable choice. Taller one shot first, jerked his arm when he pulled the trigger. A bad habit usually favored by street slinger punks who are used to compensating for the kickback of jailbroken zippers. He might as well have been aiming at the ceiling. Thin lines up his shot properly, laser sight dialed in on the young master's left trapezoid. I shift into a horse rider stance and deflect the needle with my weapon. The lift doors open behind me, just another shooter steps forward at my 3 o'clock, or so I thought, but all they had was a laser pointer. Literally a cheap trick. But it worked. I hear a click from 8 o'clock, turn my neck, and feel a weight punch into my deltoid, a dullish kind of pain for an instant. I realize I'm already going numb, and that's when I squeeze. Squeeze? He's talking about its mods. That's how I've always described it. Others say they flex or pull or hold. I squeeze. Akita Type 2 external thoracic booster. Some burst strength and painkiller capacities, but in short, it's a reflex enhancer. Make 1 second feel like 15 in hindsight. And makes it feel like you ran a marathon during those 15 seconds once the kickback gets you. But I digress. I moved. Got Makoto into the elevator and wrenched the door shut myself, taking 3 more needles to the back in the process. I remember saliva pooling on my lip and then cold concrete scratching my cheek. Alright, Sosuke. So you were guarding Makoto, these men laid a trap, targeted him with tranks, failed, then they take you instead. Yes, to my great shame. You were outnumbered and ambushed, but you still managed to protect Makoto. What's there to be ashamed of? That I didn't see it coming. You're saying this happened before? Dozens of attempts in the past year. Some headed off in the early stages, some sidestep entirely, and some stopped with force. I knew their tactics and I knew our vulnerabilities, yet still I failed. Sosuke, that is. Not incorrect. Didn't I? Am I wrong? Shouldn't a bodyguard get at least 1 shot off before being taken down? Shot? What do you mean, shot? You were not carrying a firearm? No, no one on the team had guns. How's that? None of us on the security team had firearms with us. But you're a gangster. I'm a head of personnel security for the Ikaria Financial Group. Walking onto an allied group's property armed to the teeth insults their hospitality and makes the house look insecure, or worse, impotent. And I'm not a security expert, but I do think there's some gray area between armed to the teeth and empty-handed. I mean, did you just say you deflected their attack? I was not defenseless just because I wasn't carrying a gun. Oh? I had my sword. So lame. So cool. You walk around town with what, a samurai sword? You just assume that it's a katana? Is it? Yes. It is a signifier of my position within the house and shows that I am acting as a representative of it. Is it ceremonial, then? No, it is quite sharp. I can attest to that. Though it's probably in terrible condition by now, seeing how the city's police manhandle everything else they touch. Speaking of which, perhaps we should move on to the night's main events. They tried for Makoto, got you instead, and took you to the lower wards. Why? I've been wondering that myself. Aren't you essentially worthless? As a hostage, she means. I know that. Thinking back, I was surprised myself to wake up at all alone in captivity. But it seems they had questions they wanted to ask me. What do you remember? Whatever they used on me, I can remember some things, but how much of it was real, what order it happened in, it's all... Just say whatever comes to mind. It can be anything. Sights, smells, voices. There are no wrong answers. I was bound, my wrists bound above my head, tied to something that smelled like iron and rattled like old iron. Tiles beneath my feet, some kind of bathroom or decontamination area. Good guess. They asked me questions, I said things, loose lips like being drunk for the first time again. But I'm confident that other than vulgarities it was all incoherent. Because there were shocks, the taste of blood. I must have bit my tongue during the spasms. And there were beatings, of course. I wouldn't have guessed. Adonai, do you need corrective lenses? Sarcasm is just how I grieve a lost opportunity, Sarah. Lost opportunity? Yeah, it's a damn shame. From what I can see of it, a pretty face like yours would go a long way with the jury if it wasn't pulverized. Ridiculous. Is he blushing? I agree about his face, Adonai, but I don't believe it is his only strong feat. Let us move on. Really? Well, in that case, how did your captivity end? Do you recall escaping? I was blindfolded the entire time, but my ears weren't boxed so bad. There was a door that squeaked and whined, so I always knew when someone was coming or going. One voice asked questions mostly. It was light. Another voice grunted when he hit me, heavy. Other voices came and went, and then eventually there was talk. Through the door I heard they were all talking to someone else. A new voice? Was it high-pitched or low, loud or soft? It doesn't matter. What's important is that it belonged to someone new. Someone besides you and the dead who was there that night. Did you make out any part of their conversation? No, not a word. But there was a loud noise, gunshots followed by shouting and ugly sounds. And then, a hollow pain in my skull as I lost consciousness again. When I next came to, I had something in my hands. Something sharp. I didn't even think to ask what it was or where it came from. I'd started working at the bindings. Rushed and clumsy, poked myself in the process. But I cut them loose, then took the gag out. The blindfold was so tight I cut it rather than try and... Ugh. The damn thing must have been acting as a bandage, because when I took it off, between the light and the pain, I thought that my head had split open. It took me a long time to stand up. Felt like I could lie on that cold, disgusting floor forever if I just... But something was poking me, something tucked into my waistband. The gun. A gun. Imagine my surprise. Checked the safety of the chamber reflectively, but only saw 2 spent slugs. I was too tired to be confused, so I just walked out that squeaky door and into red. Just red. And then I was looking at an IV, handcuffed to a stretcher in an ambulance, some cop reading me my rights, saying that I killed 5 people. No, wait, some judge or official said that later. When I woke up in the ambulance, all they said was that I was a cop killer. Omitting some strong language. I don't understand. You were held captive, interrogated, tortured, but then you woke up armed and were able to escape? The cops didn't ask me any questions, and I wouldn't have answered if they had. It's been nearly a full day, and I'm just now saying it aloud for the first time. It truly sounds absurd. This is your world, Sosuke, not mine. Do you have any theories on what happened? Only 2 possibilities come to mind. In the first scenario, one or more of my captors wanted to kill me but needed an excuse to do so. So they let me escape. They give me a knife and an unloaded gun, then wait for me to stumble out so they can mist me and be done with it. But the plan doesn't work. Somehow I limp out of that room and shoot, cut, stab, kill them all. That would be quite the feat, given the condition you say you were in. Yes, a tale for the ages. But it's not possible. Why isn't it possible? Even if he had the motive and they were stupid enough to give him the opportunity, he was still lacking... In the brief I read, 2 of the pod were shot to death. I'm sure you're highly qualified, Sosuke, but I doubt you can fire a gun without bullets. No, I cannot. As I said, the gun I woke up with had already fired both its shots. So if we tell the police that the gun wasn't loaded, would that clear Sosuke's name for 2 of the murders? There's no proof the gun was already empty by the time he got his hands on it. She's right. That gun was some kind of jailbroken mag rail. The only residue it would leave behind is static. So long as my prints are on it, that's all the evidence they need to claim I fired it. How about that second possibility, then? The second possibility is that someone walked into that building, killed my captors, and then tried to frame me for it. That sounds like lunacy. We've already eliminated the other possibility. Insane trumps impossible. Like it or not, this bad Samaritan theory is our best shot. What is it? I'm just surprised you believe me. You haven't even asked if I did it. I never ask. It helps that I can usually tell. A wise policy for the world you're setting foot into. Not as if it makes any difference here. Even I don't know if I'm guilty. You were drugged and beaten. You're still injured even now. And we just reasoned that you couldn't have killed your captors without help. What makes you think you might still be guilty? Because I've killed before. A pale spark flickers at the back of my mind. My index finger rises slightly, my lips part. Was I expecting this, stepping into the criminal underworld? Looking forward to it? The rare opportunity to speak frankly with someone else who's... You mean... Yes. I was in the military. Okay. I've taken lives many times. That doesn't make you a murderer. Soldiers are given orders. I've killed people. Whether or not Superior asked me to do it doesn't change that fact. But soldiers... Are you a soldier, Sarah? No? So drop it. She is good at following orders. It can take years to acquire that skill. I imagine it comes easy for androids. Yes, so that's... Wait, that's an android? Did you miss the glowing barcode? And ignore my self-introduction? Look, I'm tired. I thought those were highlights or something. Did my hair catch your eye? You have discerning taste. You see, each strand is actually... Was there something else you wanted to say, Sosuke? I've taken lives before, and so I know how I feel afterwards. Thin. And how do you feel right now? Right now I feel... What is it? You remember something? Yes. After I stepped out that door, I said I saw red, but I do remember one other sensation. I remember the feeling of gripping my sword. That brief you read, it listed all the charges, all the causes of death. The fifth man, the cop they say I killed. How did he die? Stabbed through the back with a sword, skewered like a piece of goddamn meat. And you've got the balls to ask us to carry him to a hospital? I don't think that's quite how I phrased the request. I've been paying close attention. Would you like me to play back what you said? Not right now, Sparky. Reyes, she's just doing her job. It's not like she's asking... Oh, save the lecture, gray hair. Ray. Come on, my hair isn't... It's graying, maybe. In case I haven't made it clear, I've never liked you, Morgan. Oh, you're breaking my head. I hadn't noticed. But I never took you for a mob lawyer. Whatever my client's associations might be, he's a cop killer. Innocent until proven guilty isn't a phrase I coined myself, detective. It's actually somewhat important. Oh, don't worry about that. The proving won't take us long at all. Do you always take pride in rushing your investigations? We've all seen the same intake file by now, yes? My client was in bad shape when he was arrested, but his wounds were treated in medical transport. Yet somehow, in between arriving at the station and his booking, all of his wounds were reopened, and some of them had multiplied. Tell me if you can, great detective. How will we ever solve the mystery of the reappearing fractured skull? Your client was being moved between floors. He struggled, trying to escape. And then he fell down the stairs. Really? Was there a lawnmower waiting at the bottom? Look, we're all adults here. So let's just say it. Your coworker kicked the shit out of him. Well, what do you want me to do about it? I want you to uphold the law. For some reason I thought you cared about that. A police badge isn't a time machine. By the time we took custody, it was already... She's right, Tiger. What's done is done. You know you've got a snowball's chance in hell of proving your client was assaulted while in police custody, and you'll never get charges brought against the officers who did it. So try asking for something doable. Don't go giving away all my best tricks. The door in the face tactic is already fragile. I want him to see a doctor. You've got to be shitting me. That's a bloody KW in there with military-grade mods. He's not leaving this building. But we could have a doctor brought here. And give him the chance to take a hostage? He's not the 99 man, Reyes. He can't break his cuffs. Don't say 99 man, you don't know what it means, you're too old. How about a medic who can't be taken hostage? Medical ad? Sure, great. Let's see if we can't negotiate his premium lower while we're at it. Is that a refusal, Detective Reyes? Oh, I didn't say no, did I? Great. He also needs a protective detail. Lady, I swear to... Counselor, protective details are comprised of off-duty cops. I don't think that'll have the outcome you're looking for. No. But if my client is left unattended one more night, he's likely to be declared unfit to stand trial when he shows up to court with his head caved in. An outcome I genuinely believe you're not looking for either. We could keep him here. What, in the interrogation room? Counseling quarter. Table can't be moved, but if you slide the chairs out of the way, the floor's not actually that hard. Do you even know that? Given what other lodgings he's had in the last 24 hours, I don't think your client will mind. So if Detective Reyes and Detective London take shifts keeping watch... Now we're keeping watch? It is the homicide department's counseling quarter. You think I give a shit what happens to that son of a bitch? You think I wouldn't walk in there myself and... You wouldn't. What? It's not in your nature. The hell is that supposed to mean? You either have it or you don't. Trust me, if I had the chance to take a swing at that son of a bitch... Yeah, you already called him that. A piece of shit, a bastard, a killer. But unlike every other cop I walked past to get in here, you've yet to call Sosuke an animal. So what? The hell does that matter? It's the only thing that matters. I've got the outsider's perspective, so I know. Your average human can do anything to anyone, so long as they're not a person. Whatever. Think what you want, creep. Well, so long as that's your only request, we should be able to... I need to get into the crime scene as soon as possible. You've gotta be... What, like tonight? She's not rushing more than anyone else, Sunshine. Everyone up the line has been raring to go on this, now that Sosuke's actually got a lawyer. Well, maybe if that son of a bitch hadn't clammed up all day, we wouldn't... She said it again. Whatever, pick then, counselor. You can bully us into guard duty or escort duty, but you can't do both. I need both. You'll have to split up. But I can help with that. Or rather, Sarah can. I can? Of course you can. You can go treat Sosuke. Ajna, I am not trained in... Oh, I love this bit. She's pretending she doesn't remember being registered as my medical ad. Yes, I would never forget that unforgettable experience. But I've never done first aid before. Well, watch a tutorial first. Use lots of sanitizer. Just hand her some bandages and she'll get Sosuke looking good and new in no time. Then you can plop her in front of the door and even 20 crooked crops working together couldn't get her to budge. That much is certainly accurate. I have a strong core, so if I focus and lower my center of gravity... Thanks for the sales pitch, but it doesn't mean shit. The crime scene is in the lower wards. If you think after what happened last night that any cop with a pulse would go down there without their partner... It's okay, Sunshine. I'll take her down there. Is everyone else in here having Nirvana? London, it's in Blue Blood territory. Blue Blood territory outskirts, really. They lost a whole pod. They'll be swarming the place. You can't go down there without backup. Backup, huh? You know Mac from Contraband? Skinny guy, kind of a perv. Yeah, he's skinny. Look, he's got crime scene analysis sweeps going over that place with a fine comb right about now. Drones, probes, the works. They'll have eyes on us before we get in within 5 minutes of the place. Whatever. Just keep in contact for once. I hope you're being generously compensated, Eve. Selling your soul to the mob. It'd be a shame if you didn't at least get a good price. Hey, you coming, Blinkers? Gotta find where they store all the medkits in this dusty old piece of... Go on. I'll be right behind you, Detective. Sorry about that. She's still new to all this, really. Not old like me. She does seem to be on edge, more so than usual. It's her first time losing a fellow officer. I think she's taking it pretty hard. Maybe even personally? Did they know each other? Alright. You gather up all your things, I'll go bring us up a ride. Great. Thanks for all the help, Detective. You're a lifesaver. Now, this is one occasion where I wouldn't have had any trouble finding the place. Really didn't take you that long to hatch him up, huh? Now we just wait here. All night. The clock runs pretty slow. If you're not doing anything else, Detective, might you be interested in answering some questions?